The first time I noticed it, I thought it was just a coincidence. A patient, Mr. Henderson, walked out of Dr. Albright's office with a smile that was just off. It was too wide, too perfect, stretching his lips in a way that looked more like a grimace than an expression of happiness. He just had the luminance procedure, Dr. Albright's proprietary whitening and alignment treatment. I shrugged it off. Maybe he was just really happy with his new smile. But then Mrs. Gable came in for the same procedure. She was a sweet older woman who always brought us cookies. She went into the treatment room anxious and came out with that exact same smile. Unblinking, vacant eyes, and a grin that didn't reach them. It was unsettling. When I asked if she was okay, she just nodded slowly, that smile plastered on her face, and walked out without a word. She didn't even say goodbye. The pattern continued. One by one, patients would undergo the luminance procedure, and one by one, they would leave transformed. Not just their teeth, but their entire demeanor. They all had the same vacant, unerringly wide smile. They looked like porcelain dolls, perfect on the outside, but hollow within. I started keeping a log, a little black notebook I hid in my locker. Patient names, dates, and a little sketch of that awful smile next to each entry. Then, the disappearances started. It began with Mr. Henderson. His wife called the office, frantic. He'd gone out for a walk a week after his procedure and never came back. The police found his car by the woods, but no sign of him. A few weeks later, Mrs. Gable's son called. She was gone too, vanished from her own home. My blood ran cold. I looked at my notebook. Every single patient who had received the luminance treatment in the last 2 months was now officially a missing person. I knew I had to do something. I couldn't go to the police. What would I say? That our dentist was giving people smiles that made them disappear? They'd think I was crazy. So I decided to investigate on my own. I started staying late, pretending to clean up, trying to find out what the luminance procedure actually was. Dr. Albright was intensely private about it. He always performed it alone, locking the door to treatment room 3, and he mixed the compounds himself in his private lab. One night, after Dr. Albright had left, I managed to pick the lock on his lab. The room was sterile, almost surgically clean, except for a strange, sweet, cloying smell like rotting flowers. In the center of the room was a complex piece of machinery I'd never seen before, humming quietly. There were vials of a shimmering, pearlescent liquid lined up on a tray. This had to be the secret to the luminance treatment. I pocketed one of the vials, my heart hammering against my ribs. My next step was to warn the next patient. Her name was Sarah, a young woman who was getting the procedure done for her upcoming wedding. I cornered her in the waiting room before her appointment. "You need to leave," I whispered, my voice trembling. "Don't let him do this to you. Something is wrong with this procedure. People are disappearing." Sarah looked at me, her eyes wide with confusion and a little bit of fear. Before she could respond, the door to the hallway opened. It was Dr. Albright. He didn't look angry. He just smiled, a calm paternal smile, but his eyes were like chips of ice. "Maria, what are you doing? You're upsetting our patient." He gently guided Sarah towards his office, assuring her that I was just overworked and stressed. He looked back at me, and his smile widened, just a fraction. It was the same smile. The patient's smile. Panic seized me. I knew I was in danger. I grabbed my bag, my notebook, the vial, and ran. I didn't go home. I drove straight to a motel on the other side of town, paid in cash, and locked myself in the room. I had to figure this out. I took out the vial. The pearlescent liquid seemed to move on its own, swirling with an internal light. On a whim, I dabbed a tiny amount onto a tissue. It dissolved the paper instantly, leaving behind a faint shimmering residue. What on earth was this stuff? I spent the next 2 days trying to piece everything together. I called a friend, a biologist, and described the substance to her. She was baffled, but suggested it might be some kind of engineered organism, maybe a bioluminescent fungus or bacteria that bonds with enamel. She said without a sample, She couldn't be sure. But the idea of a living organism being applied to people's teeth sent a fresh wave of horror through me. Was it controlling them, forcing them to smile as it took over? I decided my only choice was to expose Dr. Albright publicly. I created an anonymous blog. I posted everything: the patient list, the dates, the connection to the disappearances, my suspicions about the luminance procedure. I uploaded a picture of the vial and my sketch of the smile. I called it the Smile Protocol. I hit publish and felt a small sense of relief. The truth was out there. Someone had to see it. Someone had to believe me. I fell into an exhausted, restless sleep. When I woke up, something was wrong. The air was cold and smelled sterile, familiar. The light was too bright. I wasn't in the motel room anymore. I tried to sit up, but I couldn't. I was reclined, strapped into a chair. A dental chair. My head was throbbing, my memories fuzzy and fragmented. Then I saw him. Dr. Albright was standing over me, his face obscured by a surgical mask and loupes. He was humming a cheerful, tuneless melody. I tried to scream, but my mouth was full of cotton and metal instruments. He leaned in close, his eyes twinkling above the mask. "Don't you worry, Maria," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "You've been under a lot of stress lately. Working too hard. Having nightmares." He held up a mirror. My own reflection stared back at me. My eyes were wide with terror, but my mouth was stretched into a perfect, wide, horrifying smile. He picked up a syringe filled with that same shimmering, pearlescent liquid. "We just need a little touch-up. You're our best advertisement. After all, the last thing I saw before the needle went into my gum was my own reflection, my face a mask of silent, screaming joy, as my mind began to dissolve into a bright, empty, smiling void." My notebook was on the counter beside me, open to a new blank page with my name written neatly at the top. I was the next entry,